entrance of the Oklahoma State University Spring and Summer 2016 degree candidates from the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources and the Spears School of Business. please remain standing for the entrance of the platform party.
Please join me in thanking the OSU Pipes and Drums, led by Pipe Major William Tetrick. Good morning, everyone. I'm Burns Hargis, president of Oklahoma State University. Where were you when I ran for governor? And I'd like to welcome you to OSU's 133rd commencement ceremony. Please remain standing and join in the singing of our national anthem, to be led, as always, by Charles Rich, accompanied by the OSU Brass Quintet, and that will be followed by our state song. Charles?
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the And when we say the yippee-yi-yay, we're only saying you're doing fine, Oklahoma, Oklahoma, O-K-L-A-H-O-M-A, Oklahoma.
Please be seated. Thank you, Charles. First, I would like to recognize members of the OSU Emeriti Association who greeted you as you entered today with the printed programs. Emeriti faculty are our retired faculty who continue to serve OSU. Let's thank them now. And we're very pleased to have with us members of the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education. First, from Newkirk and an OSU grad, Ike Glass. From Tulsa and an OSU grad, Regent Jay Helm. And who we wish was an OSU grad, to General Tony Strickland from Lawton. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce the members of our OSU A&M Board of Regents who are with us today, and I invite them to stand as I call their names. We will applaud them as a group, unless you just can't restrain yourself. First of all, from Elk City, our chair, Joe Hall. Vice chair from Stillwater, Lou Watkins. Also from Stillwater, Calvin Anthony. From Norman, Oklahoma, Doug Burns. From Guthrie, Rick Davis. From Findlay, Oklahoma, Tucker Link. And from Tulsa, Dr. Trudy Milner. Also, Jason Ramsey, the CEO of the A&M Regents, is here. Thank you all for being here. And I would also like to introduce members of the OSU administration who are here today and invite them to stand as a group when I call their names, and we will applaud them as a group. First, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Gary Sandifer. Our Senior Vice President and General Counsel, Gary Clark. Vice President of Student Affairs, Lee Bird. Vice President of Institutional Diversity, Jason Kirksey. Our Vice President for Research, Kenneth Sewell. Our Dean of the Honors College, Keith Garbett. The Dean of Libraries, Sheila Grant Johnson. And Cheryl Tucker, our Associate Provost and Graduate College Dean. Thank you for being with us today. I'd now like to ask Board Chair Joe Hall to bring greetings to our degree candidates, followed by greetings from our Faculty Council Chair, Dr. Stephen Clark, and the immediate past president of our Student Government Association, Kyle Hilbert. Joe?
Thank you, President Hargis. Welcome, everybody. Hadn't been this full since the great basketball team in the years past, so we're glad everybody's here. Everybody keep your seat. I got one shot at this with a full arena, so come along. Jimmy Hudson, help me out. OSU Cowboys. There we go. On behalf of the Board of Regents, greetings. Congratulations to all the graduates. We're lucky today to have Tim Dubois, great alumni of Oklahoma State, had a tremendous music career, come back home to spread some wisdom and what he learned here at the Stillwater campus. Tim, thank you for coming. It's an honor for me today to be involved with the presentation for Ross and Billy McKnight of a special Bennett Award that hadn't been given in over 15 years since President Hargis was here. Ross and Billy, Ross from Throckmorton, Texas, and Billy's from Davis, Oklahoma. And I think they met here at OSU. Both their kids, leaders or graduates here, and they've got two grandsons, Mac and Pierce, that are going to be Cowboys someday. Been great supporters of the university. I think Ross has spent his lifetime trying to pay us back for finding Billy while he was here. So we appreciate them. They've led our $1 billion campaign and led gift for endowed programming for the new McKnight Performing Arts Center that will be on the south side of campus. That'll soon be under construction. For your leadership and friendship, we thank you and appreciate you being here, and it's quite an honor. Thank you both. In my day, which was a great way to start out a message for a bunch of graduates, but in my day, we were talking about Arapahoe, Hydro, Poto, Anadarko, Idaho. That's who was graduating here. Let me tell you about what we have now. We got all 77 counties on campus. We have 50 states on campus, and we got 119 countries on campus. Is that incredible? We got 49 states graduating today. Kid from Vermont didn't pass accounting, so he's not going to get out of here. It's the only state. We got 54 countries today. This isn't a little country A&M anymore, folks. That's a big lot of numbers there, and it's something to be proud of. We all are. You were the largest freshman class in fall of 2012 in the history of this institution. Have the most degrees granted, almost 6,000 this year, all-time undergrad enrollment, all-time high OSU Stillwater enrollment. Who would have thought this would be that way? We have a national trumpet corps, national champion trumpet corps. Who'd have thought that? Been to a bowl game every year you've been here. This is our university. It's a great deal. A lot of it's been brought about by a tremendous president and first lady, President Hargis, and his wonderful first cowgirl, Ann. Greatest harmonizer in the history of our institutions. Graduates, we honor you. We celebrate your elevation to this institution and your graduation. Thank you to all the family, the friends, the faculty, the administration, and the staff for elevating this university. We are truly America's brightest orange. Go Pokes.
Good morning. What a wonderful, beautiful day for commencement ceremonies. On behalf of the faculty of Oklahoma State University, we want to take this opportunity to congratulate you on this special day for you and your family. Of all the successes of OSU, from the accomplishments on the athletic field to here in historic Gallagher-Iba Arena to helping the citizens of Oklahoma solve problems that enhance their lives, this commencement day that occurs only twice a year is no doubt our most important and significant success as an institution. The entire OSU community has supported you during the last few years, and it is with pride and immense satisfaction that we watch you walk across this stage today. In a few short moments, you will be among the less than 10% of the world's population that has earned a bachelor's degree, and we welcome you to this community of scholars. We encourage you to enjoy the moment, and we look forward to watching you make a positive impact on our world. On a side note, if after graduating you see one of us at Food Pyramid or a sporting event or even the Evil Empire Walmart, don't be afraid to say hi. We may not always know your name, but we'll for sure remember your face. You all have enriched our lives, and it is you, the students, that make this such a special and rewarding place to work. Again, take some time to soak up the moment, celebrate this occasion with your friends and family who have supported you over the years, and make sure that you do not forget that tomorrow is Mother's Day. Congratulations, and of course, go Pokes.
Well, since he did mention Mother's Day, and because my mom's right over there, I better give a shout out. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Fellow graduates, we've made it. As I was preparing these brief remarks to reflect upon our time at this institution, I was thinking about the lessons that this university has taught us. And I think the greatest lesson that we've learned at OSU is the value of time and just how quickly it goes by. It seems like just yesterday we were moving into the residence halls. Just yesterday we were cramming for a final we should have studied weeks in advance for. Some of us, that actually was yesterday. Just yesterday, Mojo's didn't exist, and we had Giuseppe's. Yeah. Time is important. We've seen the highs with Bedlam winds, and we've also seen the lows with the tragedies that have befallen our campus far too often. But through it all, fellow graduates, our time in Stillwater may be coming to an end, but our journey as cowboys has only just begun. As we turn our tassels and become a permanent part of this family and sit on the other side of Boone Pickens Stadium, let's cling to our faith, live with no regrets, and never forget to live in the present. As Theodore Roosevelt once said, do what you can with what you have, where you are. Thanks, and go Pokes.
Thank you, Joe, Stephen, and Kyle. We really appreciate your comments. I'd also like to recognize Dr. Carol Jones, who is our Faculty Council Vice Chair and served as our Flag Marshal today and didn't fly away. Well done, Carol. We now have a very special presentation to make, and it was alluded to by Chairman Hall. It's one of the great pleasures of my job as president of this great institution when we have the opportunity to recognize and to thank individuals who have given so much back to their alma mater. This is certainly the case with Billy and Ross McKnight. The Henry G. Bennett Distinguished Service Award is named in honor of the former OSU president, Henry Bennett, who made so many noteworthy contributions to this university, including our architecture, to higher education, and to benefit mankind as the first director of the Point 4 program, which is today USAID. This is the highest humanitarian award given by Oklahoma State University and is only presented on very special, rare occasions, and today is one of those occasions. Today, we honor and thank Billy and Ross McKnight. These two epitomize the word humanitarian. Billy and Ross co-chaired Brand Needs Success, the largest and most successful fundraising campaign in OSU's history, raising more than $1.2 billion. Now, we don't have all that money. Part of it's the state gifts, so we're going to need some cooperation. That would include Ann and me. And we're not ready to cooperate. They established the McKnight Leader Scholars Program, which provides scholarships and unique leadership development opportunities for 50 freshman students and nearly 150 upperclassmen each year. Their leadership and philanthropy extends beyond OSU to their hometown of Throckmorton, Texas, and beyond. They provide countless hours of time and attention to the betterment of others and share their love and passion for the arts. Most recently, and most notably, Billy and Ross have given $25 million to create a programming endowment for the new Performing Arts Center at OSU, which will be named thanks to the Regents, the McKnight Center for the Performing Arts at OSU. Joining in this award presentation is board chair and good friend of the McKnights, Joe Hall, as we present the framed resolution to Ross and Billy. Ross and Billy, please stand. I could read all this, but I just said it.
I really wasn't planning on saying anything, but it is indeed an honor for Billy and I to be here today and to receive this recognition. Little did I know when I came here from Throckmorton, Texas, in a senior class of 13, that I would ever have the friendships and the relationships that I have through Oklahoma State University. The set of leadership that we have here, both on the Regents and in the administration, is wonderful. The opportunities that you as graduates have, as graduates of a wonderful land-grant university, have never had more prestige and respect in the United States and the world than you have today. Honor OSU with your lives. Honor yourselves with your lives. That's what giving back is all about. Thank you to OSU.
We'll now move to another very important part of our program this morning, the presentation of an honorary doctorate degree, and the introduction of our keynote speaker. We're absolutely delighted to have Tim Dubois with us today. Tim is a true OSU cowboy with both a bachelor and a master's degrees in accounting. Followed college, Tim spent time in the accounting field and in teaching, which he continued through most of his career. Soon after, though, he followed his dream to Nashville. He had a long and successful career in the recording industry, both as a writer and a producer. 5 songs that Tim has co-written have been #1 hits, and he has received 2 Grammy nominations. You most likely have heard of some of the country artists that he's produced: Alan Jackson, Vince Gill, Brooks and Dunn, Brad Paisley, just to name a few. In 2015, Tim was inducted in the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame. He's the past president of the board of directors of the Country Music Hall of Fame. Tim Dubois has been recognized by his alma mater and is being inducted into the OSU Hall of Fame, and was named one of the most influential graduates by the Spears School of Business. It now gives me great pleasure to invite Tim to come forward so that we may honor his outstanding service to his country and fellow citizens, presenting him with an honorary doctorate of humane letters. Tim, would you please come forward? And assisting me will be Joe Hall, who will present the framed diploma, and Dean Cheryl Tucker, who will hood Dr. Dubois. Tim Dubois.
I can't tell you how honored I am to be here today. I've been assured and warned by many of the people on the stage and some of my friends is that the most important part about this speech is that it's short. And I'm going to do my best to honor that. But I want to talk to you today about an irony, because 39 years ago, I was right here in Stillwater, and I was a third-year PhD candidate. I lacked one class, a macroeconomics class. I lacked a term paper in accounting theory, which I took an I and ended up turning into an F. And that little thing they call a dissertation. That PhD, that real PhD, was right there for the taking. But my mind and my heart were already somewhere else. Because I have been, from the beginning, a walking, talking contradiction, a left brain, right brain conflict. Let's go back 50 years to explain that, because 50 years ago in May, I was graduating from Grove Public High School. I played what I thought was a mean guitar, and I was a pretty good science and math student. I got offered scholarships to several different schools. I even got offered a scholarship to that other school down there, South Oklahoma City. It was a bigger scholarship than OSU offered me, but I never even went and visited because I knew already where I was coming. I knew that much of my life. In the fall, I was going to be a cowboy. My mom and dad had brought me here with 4-H clubs since I was in 6th grade. My older brother Ed and his wife had gone to school here. Eventually, my younger brother Randy and his wife Connie went to school here. My beautiful wife Pamela Smith Dubois queen of the College of Business in 1976, and her two sisters had gone here, and over half of my nieces and nephews have gone to school here. Cowboy to the core describes our family. I did have that problem, though, that I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. There was that part of me that thought, you know, I know you like this music thing, but everybody keeps telling you you can't really make a living doing that. And then there was this other part of me that thought, well, you need to get a real job. And somehow, somebody back along the line had told me that if I wanted to be an attorney, which that was kind of bouncing around my head, I ought to get a degree in business, not a poli-sci degree. So that's where I took my first accounting course. And I know this is going to be incredibly hard to believe, especially for that poor kid from Vermont who flunked accounting. But I actually loved accounting. I love studying accounting. Let's qualify that, okay? I flew through here. 6 years went by pretty quick. I had accomplished... It took me a while to get the balance of academics, music, and alcohol figured out. And it's but at the end of 6 years, I had a bachelor's and a master's in accounting. I had a wife and 2 kids, and I still had this music thing that wouldn't go away. I took a job with Arthur Anderson in Dallas, right out of school in 1972. And I learned 2 things that were very important to me in life. First of all, I learned that liking to study accounting did not necessarily translate into liking to do accounting. They stuck me in an audit position that I learned to hate very, very quickly. The other important thing that happened in Dallas was I discovered a new kind of music. I kind of knew about it, but I hadn't really been. I grew up a rocker. I grew up in the 60s. I was listening to rock music and the Beatles and anti-war songs, and I kind of turned my nose up at country. But when I got to Dallas, all of a sudden, all of my attorney and my lawyer friends were dragging me out to these bars to hear people like Jerry Jeff Walker and Ray Wiley Hubbard. These are the guys that followed in the footsteps of some names you know, like Cross Canadian Ragweed and Stoney LaRue and people like that. That was the start and the birth of what became Red Dirt music, which Oklahoma State has played a huge part in, made many, many contributions. And in that music, I found something that really stimulated me as a writer again. So as quickly as I could, I moved from Arthur Anderson to the Federal Reserve System, which was going from a full-time job to a part-time job. Don't tell anybody in the federal government I said that, but it really was. And all of a sudden, I had more time on my hands to play guitar. And I kept playing, and I kept getting what I thought was better and better. And then in 1974, I came back here to Oklahoma State to work on a PhD. And in that library right across campus over there, I made the first demos that I took to Nashville. My little brother Randy was here, still playing. We wrote together. There was a guy named Scott Hendricks, who's also in the Alumni Hall of Fame here, and Scott thought he wanted to be a recording engineer, so he helped us make those demos. And in 1975, we carried those demos to Nashville. And much to my surprise, they didn't like them very well. But I was unafraid, and this was something that was inside of me. That left brain, right brain thing was going on. So the left brain logical side said, you need to learn more about this, and I did. I read every book that existed in that library about the music business. Not just the music side of it, but maybe more importantly, the business side of it. Back then, we didn't have Google, okay? And there weren't but about 14 books in the library about the music business when you get right down to it, about the performance side of it. But all of a sudden, in 1976, on another trip to Nashville, while I was still working on my PhD, somebody started liking my songs, and I got a song cut. And I will never forget, here in Stillwater, over in a little rented house, on South Stanley Street, standing there washing dishes one evening, and I heard the first song that I had ever written on the radio. I dropped the dish. It changed me. I just thought, my God, I've finally done something that somebody cared enough about to write. Now, it was a song called, I'm sure you all remember this, it was a song called A Good Old-Fashioned Saturday Night Honky-Tonk Barroom Brawl. Well, I thought it was going to be number 1, and it ended up going to number 42. But that I took as a sign. And the next time I was in Nashville, I walked into UT that had a night school for adult education there. I didn't have a resume, I didn't have an appointment, I just walked in and asked to talk to the head of the accounting department. And I told him I'm a PhD candidate at Oklahoma State, I'm about to finish up my coursework. I'm thinking maybe I might want to come to Nashville, I love the city. I didn't mention the songwriting thing. Didn't want to confuse things, you know, just stuck to the accounting. Well, lo and behold, and I got back home. He just took my name on a piece of paper and a phone number. I got back home, and about 4 or 5 weeks later, the phone rang, and it was that guy, Charles Rowland. He said, you know, I had a guy hired to start here this June, and he just backed out on me. I couldn't remember when you were going to finish up, but is there any chance that you would take that job? Would you be interested in that? Now, what more of a sign from God could you want, really? I just immediately knew that's what I had to do. The left brain, right brain, all of a sudden the right brain creative side took over, and the next morning I was talking to my committee and saying, I'm going to take a 2-year leave of absence from the PhD program. After much arm twisting and trying to get them to get me to stay, I went ahead anyway, and I left. I took a 2-year leave thinking, man, I'll be rich and famous for 2 years, or I'll come back home, finish up that degree, learn to smoke a pipe, and be a very happy college professor. But 2 years went by, and I didn't get rich and famous. In fact, I almost came back here. I'd gotten a couple songs cut. In fact, I think I had 3 or 4 songs cut, but they were all singles. And if you added the money from all of them together, it didn't probably add up to $1,000. But I told a friend of mine I was going back, and he said, why did you just ask for a 2-year leave of absence? Why didn't you ask for 3? And I said, well, I don't know. 2 just seemed like that was sort of the right thing to do. He said, I think you should ask for 3. So I called my committee up, and by that point in time, I think they'd pretty well given up on me. And they said, yeah, you can have another year. And in that next year, I got 3 #1 singles. I wrote what became the anthem for divorced men all over America, the song that my mother loved so much. She got the gold mine, I got the shaft. And I wrote another song that was Alabama's biggest hit on the pop charts called Love in the First Degree. And another one that I won't bore you with, but it was written actually driving back and forth between Tulsa and Stillwater before I ever went over there, a song called Midnight Holler, which was #1, but a minor #1. But from there, I got involved in record production, and I put together a group called Restless Heart. The boys were mainly from Oklahoma. We went on to have 4 #1 albums together. I didn't know how to produce records. I just had it in my heart, and I was willing to try it. And then all of a sudden, that left brain side of me kicked in again, and I was out there thinking, well, these guys need a manager. And all of a sudden, I thought, well, I've got a business background. By golly, I can manage. So I did. And I started a company that ended up being the Nashville branch of a big West Coast company called Fitzgerald Hartley. We signed another little known talent from Oklahoma at that point in time named Vince Gill. He became our next client. I had another group called Foster and Lloyd. And again, I found myself going, this seems a little bit too much like work. I'm sensing that this is accounting. So after getting that off the ground, I quit again. And I wanted to go back to writing. And I was getting back to writing, and I got a phone call from a gentleman by the name of Clive Davis. Clive Davis, some of you may recognize that name. He's one of the icons of the music industry. He's the guy who signed Bruce Springsteen. He's the guy who signed Janis Joplin, Whitney Houston. The list goes on and on and on. I didn't think I wanted to run a record label, but I sure did want to meet Clive Davis because I had read his book years before. And I went to that meeting, and before I knew it, he offered me the chance to open Ariston Nashville. Ariston Nashville was opened in 1989, and in 1990 we put out our first record. It was on a kid named Alan Jackson. Let me give you a little tip. If you ever want to start a record company, find yourself an Alan Jackson. It's a great way to start a company. And with that start, we went on in the next 18 months and we broke 4 multi-platinum acts. Alan Jackson, Brooks and Dunn, Pam Tillis, and Diamond Reel. And we went from a 0 start. When I took the job, I didn't even have an office, secretary, a phone, or anything. A year and a half later, we were the #2 label in Nashville, and we stayed that way all during that decade. I went on from there to show that I could really screw up things. I went to work for Gaylord, and I ran all their entertainment assets for a while. I started a management company and managed a young guitar player from Australia by the name of Keith Urban. Now notice I said I managed him when it didn't make any difference who managed him, because I left before he got big, but I did help him get started. And then I started another record company called Universal South, where our biggest claim to fame is we gave Cross Canadian Ragweed their first record label. That's our claim to fame there. From that, after 5 years, I went back into management. Was involved there for a few years, and then went back to my love of teaching, and I went to Vanderbilt. And when I had been at Vanderbilt the first time, I taught accounting to graduate students. Second time at Vanderbilt, I was teaching entrepreneurship in the music industry. It was a lot more fun. My point today is to tell you, you may think you have your life figured out. You may have a vision of where you think this all goes. But I assure you, your imagination is not big enough. You can't imagine the opportunities and the doors that are going to open for you as you go through your life. Don't be afraid to stick your head in that door. You've got a background, you've got a degree from a great college, you've got a set of tools that you're taking with you as you go from here. And you just got to believe in yourself and have that faith. But maybe more importantly, you have to believe in the people that are there with you. If I have a talent, it's in picking great partners. I'm picking the people that I work with and then believing in with them. I'm going to leave you today with what some of my people that I work with call Tim's rules, okay? And they're short and they go by fast. The first one is work hard, be honest, and don't get greedy. The work hard, that's just a cliche. Any job worth doing is worth doing right. There's nothing that feels as good as a job well done. The be honest part seems obvious, but just remember, it's so much easier to keep your story straight if you tell the truth. The third thing, don't get greedy. That's not about money, folks. It's about money, love, power, and fame. Don't get impatient and don't get greedy. My second rule is people will almost always live up to or down to your expectations. When you're working with your fellow workers, when you're working with your boss, when you're eventually the boss, that's a very important lesson. People can read your expectations in the way you treat them. You don't have to tell them your expectations, and they will try to meet them. Always try to hire great people or pick good partners or pick good friends and then empower them. Make a part of your success being you being the one that helps them. Rule number 4 is I will love you and support you, but I will not carry you. You don't need freeloaders in your life, okay? Support the people around you, but you don't need to enable and you don't need to carry. Number 6, don't be critical of yourself. There's plenty of people standing in line, eager to do that. Nobody looks at your mistakes any harder than you look at them. They don't really care. They get over them really fast. Number 7 has to do with the fact that we're living in a crazy time right now where the world is changing incredibly fast. And I always remember, Being called an expert in anything only means you used to know how to do it, because it changes so fast. The 8th one is believe that there is an unlimited amount of growth and good in all of us, and be an empowerer, someone who helps that growth take place. And number 9, which I think is the most important Tim's rule, whenever possible, refuse to work with jerks. Now, when I give this talk, I do this thing called Feed the Fire for creative organizations a lot, and when I do it in a little less formal space, why I usually substitute a part of the human body for jerks. But for today's audience, I'm going to use jerks, okay? Everybody is allowed to have a bad day, and they deserve a second chance. Everybody is allowed to have a bad week, and maybe they even deserve a second chance for that. But don't ruin your life by staying associated to somebody who has a bad life, okay? They could run it for you. It's up to you, if you are their boss, to help them find a different job. If you work for them, it's up to you to get your resume done and get the heck out of there. You guys have a wonderful future in front of you. My talk today is just to remind you that your imagination probably isn't big enough to see all the opportunities you're going to have. You got a great education. I'm so happy that 27 years ago, 39 years ago, I walked out of here and came back to get this honorary degree today. I've had a full life, and so much of it had to do with the education I got right here at OSU. Go Pokes.
You know, Tim, I forgot to invest you with this hood, but I want you to know that on the recommendation of the faculty at Oklahoma State University, they want you to have this. I have some real fancy words here, but we'll let it suffice. And I've worked with my share of jerks, I can tell you that. Not here. I do. Thank you. Thanks so much, Tim, for your wisdom. We appreciate it. We're very proud to recognize the accomplishments of our graduating seniors who today are receiving their respective honors degrees. The honors program is very large at Oklahoma State and very difficult. Students receiving these degrees are denoted in the program, and I'll ask those who are honor students to please stand and be recognized along with the Dean of our Honors College, Keith Garbett. OSU honors grads, please stand. Congratulations. In recognition of outstanding scholastic achievement, it is now our pleasure to recognize the newest members of the OSU chapter of Phi Kappa Phi who are wearing Phi Kappa Phi cords to denote this distinction. This is an honorary scholastic fraternity reserved for those ranking in the upper 10% of their class. Would the Phi Kappa Phi members please stand? Another significant recognition we would like to make is the members of Phi Beta Kappa. Phi Beta Kappa is the nation's oldest and most widely known academic honor. It is the advocate of excellence in the liberal arts and the sciences. Only 10% of the national institutions of higher learning in this country have Phi Beta Kappa chapters. This is OSU's 4th year to induct students, and I believe members of Phi Beta Kappa will grow here at OSU, and I ask current members to stand and be recognized. There we go. Yeah, since it's arts and sciences, I don't know how you got in here, but that's good. Among the graduates today, we are privileged to have individuals who spent long hours training in our reserve officer training programs. These individuals represent the future of our United States military, either on active duty or in the reserves or as members of the National Guard, and will serve as newly commissioned second lieutenants in the United States Army or the United States Air Force. For this ceremony, will Second Lieutenants David Brait, Ross Mead, Amber Norton, Justin Woolson, and Jack Gochenauer please stand and recognize. Thank you for your service. Before we present the candidates for degrees, I would like to ask you to join me in recognizing a very special group of people without whose efforts this graduation would not be possible. Will the faculty representing Oklahoma State University this morning please stand and remain standing while we thank you. Over here on the side. We thank each of you for your guidance and wisdom and that you have provided these students, and now those students, the candidates here today, are ready to exponentially increase the scholarship you have shared with them. There's one additional group I'd like to recognize and honor today, and we've already heard a little bit about this, but would all the mothers in the audience please stand and let us wish you a happy Mother's Day. At this time, we will begin the recognition of degree candidates by college. As you know, during this morning program, we're recognizing candidates of the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources and the Spears School of Business. Degree candidates from the College of Agriculture, please begin lining up for the presentation. I do want to advise that we have professional photographers taking pictures of each candidate during the ceremonies. At the conclusion of the program, the students will recess to the South Plaza area of Boone Pickens Stadium, where we invite you to join. Your graduate platforms have been set up, and you can take as many pictures as you like. We do respectfully remind you not to come down on the arena floor. And please remember that the last candidate across this stage is just as important as the first. Members of the Board of Regents and State Regents will join me in congratulating all the students this morning as deans assist with their college. I would now like to introduce Dean of the Spears School of Business, Ken Eastman. He will be congratulating the candidates assisted by Associate Dean Karen Flaherty. The college's gonfalon was carried by Brett Humphrey from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He is a candidate for a bachelor's degree in finance.
Brett Humphrey.
Tierra Brianne Reed.
Trevor Akins.
Jeremiah David Taylor.
Jacob Ray Manley.
Samantha Renee Ketchum.
Clayton Myers.
Thomas Lloyd Campbell.
Jackson Pate.
Natasha McCullough.
Mathan Austin Ribeiro.
Shelby Walker.
Austin Tyler Wright.
Mackenzie Graham.
Logan Smith.
Alexis Packham Johnson.
Jonathan Kyle Clifton.
Jack Gochenauer.
Matthew Mac McLaren.
Brian Crutchmer.
Brianna Michelle York.
Connor Klein.
Kirsty K. Houston.
Eli Hale.
Abby Athena Hainsey.
Luke Bean.
Karen Denise Anderson.
Holly Janine Beatty.
Mohammed Abdul Karim.
Cody Hamilton.
AJ Paul Bomra.
Isaac Alcorain.
Jasmine Colorado.
Jennifer Suzanne Petzit Ritchie.
Lindsay May Ann Hutchinson.
Rick Ellis.
Esther Miriam Rogers.
Austin Terrence Larson.
McKaylee Hall.
Chase Mitchell Morgan.
Ashley Barnes.
Justin Michael Nazell.
Chase Michael Sickler.
Alexander Robert Myers.
Tyler Koretz.
Tyler Ryan Mychok.
Alex Alabasi.
Matthew Shalom Darlene.
Cassidy Tyler Cavendish.
Blake Kendall.
Katie Lynn Watson.
Alexander William Class.
Lauren Elizabeth Berger.
Shandy Fernandez Pedra.
Preston Cardwell.
Justin Tyler Sanderson.
Ashley Morgan Voss.
Kevin Joseph Nelson.
Seth Robert Tate.
Austin Burton.
Tristan Brianna Smith.
Nathan Smith.
Brandon Wade Garrett.
Russell Ryman.
Emmanuel Ogba.
William Allen Davis.
Chandler Cole Point.
Daniel Stacy.
Jared Thomas Bierman.
Jason Richard Bilger.
Jermaine Terrell Holmes.
Margaret Nicole Craig.
Patrick Joseph Patterson.
Gabrielle Eggers.
Ryan Michael Bertles.
Morgan Ray Cravey.
Jay Jung.
Joy Leanne Strickland.
Duncan Cole Blackwell.
Emily Ann Kane.
William Lee Jordan.
Alyssa Joy Lowe.
Shannon Leanne Stafford.
Haley Catherine Boswell.
Allison Elizabeth Allen.
Mackenzie Kaylin Randolph.
Kara Lynn Powell.
Taylor Dean Firestone.
Cheyenne Meckley.
Joseph Ross Willis.
Brandon Michael Williams.
Joseph Morgan Holbrook.
Lene Jean-Lee Powell. Dowdell.
Christopher Peyton Peck.
Calvin James Downey.
James Royal Cromer.
Brandon Michael White.
Derek Bentley Hackett.
Joel Wilson.
Chase Braden Thackerson.
Derek Ernest Gabriel.
Terea Aaliyah Williams.
Kramer Meisner.
Zoe Book.
Riley Landon Berger.
Alicia Woodard.
Trenton Paul Stinchcomb.
Chad Christopher Noel.
Natalie Elizabeth Scott.
Braden Huffman.
James Porter Hendricks IV.
Truman Cooper.
Tyler Duffy.
Morgan Wilson.
Jordan Niebrugge.
Taylor Miller.
Bryce Newberry.
Christine Marie Moore.
Paige Victoria Albert.
Austin Hoover.
Catherine Elizabeth Bailiff.
Eric Doffenbach.
Zoe Duval.
Matthew Allen Walker.
Shelby Danielle Atlin.
Candice Hirome Rausch.
Hannah Ray Bingham.
Colton Thomas.
Marcus Andrew Barber.
Abby Allison Sullivan.
Brittany Taylor Willis.
Cody Christian Plumtree.
Keandre Lawrence.
Landon Lance Plumtree.
Kyle David Jackson.
Taylor Marie Bentley.
Jeff Barr.
Jana Marie Cox.
Dylan Boyd Smith.
Zhao Jin.
John Joseph Heaver.
Yun Li Zhang.
Calvin Wolfgang Mann III.
Tao Wong.
Blake Michael Hill.
Matthew Benjamin Douglas.
Caitlin Marie Disney.
Stetton Blaine Gurley.
Elizabeth Marie Barolac.
Simon James Fangman.
Michael Kenneth Martin.
Mark Grossman.
Alexander Bradley Kuntz.
Zachary Oliver Tomlinson.
Samuel David Bumbaugh.
Michael Smola.
Hunter Moore Cottle.
Corbin Irwin.
Baxter William Seals.
Crystal Danae Smith.
Jacob Armstrong.
Colbert, Portugal.
Michaela Blake Collins.
Jeffrey Edward Francis Spielman.
Kylie Lynn McCaleb.
Cole Booz.
Catherine Crisp.
Andrew Martinez.
Kelly Filson.
Michael Pasco Jewell.
Madison Cutherman.
John Plummer.
Claire Elise Myers.
Alex Farrell.
Allie Christine Clifton.
Davis Wilson.
Christina Rosemary Schneider.
Drew Hillenberg.
Lauren Jackie Einett.
William Hunter Brennan.
Brian James Healy.
Robert Bogart Blanchard.
Erica Beatrice Fontaine.
Andrew William Dockrell.
Katie Rose Toon.
David Andrew Tompkins.
Brent Bozarth.
Daniel Ray Salgado.
Zane Taylor.
Christopher Puchula.
Ashley Arlene Gray.
Cody Lee Weir.
Rosemary Danielle Philpott.
Christopher Michael Stahl.
Brandy Michelle Glover.
Kami Josephine Foray.
Saad Hazam Alasubai.
Pejman Abadi.
Alexandra Christina Serrano.
Connor Addison Balacheski McGuire.
Haley Heilman Long.
Sierra Dawn Hughes.
John Riley Nielsen.
Ryan Thornton Bauer.
Connor West Shanklin.
Tyler Philip Bardell.
Rachel George.
Matthew McConaughey.
Michelle Lee Hemperly.
Keith Edward Kibbe.
Gabrielle Eileen Gregg.
Kevin Kennedy.
Bailey Salina Kinsella.
Kyle Boren.
Richard Williams.
James Branton Wiederholt, first of his name.
Braun Brown.
Mary Catherine Punches.
Lexi Gray.
Suzanne Louise O'Connor.
Vincenzia Ann Ratcliffe.
Ashley Taylor Johnson.
Clark Tanner Wamry.
Olivia Lee James.
Austin Hugh Rauch.
Kendressa Maloku.
Andrew Ward Baldwin.
Victoria Elizabeth Clark.
William Harrison Wright IV.
Jacob Fowler.
Lucas James McMurtry.
Marshall Fry.
John Meyer.
Hunter Walker.
Marshall Williams.
Kenman Workman.
Jeremy Garrison.
Jared Michael Pineo.
Kevin Adams.
Timothy Paul Jones Jr.
Parker Fain.
Matthew Alvarez.
Claire Elizabeth Patton.
Cleon Lowe.
Gabrielle Lene Partain.
Minsoon Song.
Tony Renee Jones.
Ara Cho.
Mackenzie Marie Hayworth.
Elena Aguirre.
Paige Nicole Townsley.
Serena Ann Snyder.
Brianna Davenport.
Brittany Hope Spurrier.
Brent Lanham.
Michael Foster McClurg.
Andrew Campbell.
Nicholas Ellis Ballou.
James Paul Hallmark.
Clint McCain.
Stephen S.J. Barton.
Monica Michelle Lake.
Joe Munifo.
Kevin Michael Lundy.
Cole Hendricks Forrest.
Ryan Edward Vitelli.
James William Wood.
Ryder Robison.
Dominic A. Ramo.
Lindsay Jean Parks.
Jessica Lynn Krieger.
Allison Ann Dodson.
Taylor K. Weeder.
Avery Ann Browand.
Tanner Jackson.
Jordan Alexandria Flaw.
Taylor Powell.
Nicholas Stix Stewart.
Rebecca Nance Curtis.
Jacob Adam Metzel.
Robert Confer.
Austin A.T. Tyler.
Hunter Boken.
Luke Alaback.
Taylor Nicole Hickman.
Ty Michael Berman.
Marie Louise Schrammel.
Tyler Joel Kanarick.
Katie Michelle Schrammel.
Jordan Thomas.
Anna Michelle McCrary.
Chase Gibson.
Abby Lynn Craig.
John Mark Howard.
Shelby Elizabeth Gardenhire.
Tanner Robinson.
Carissa Marie Spring.
Michael Forrest Christopher.
Haley Nicole Birdie.
Molly Page Goodberry.
Jacob Daniel Kennedy.
Ford Stewin.
Catherine Elizabeth Rodriguez.
Dallas Garman.
Heather J. Lanfear.
Rachel Lynn Hailstone.
Brian Stephen Hicks.
Lauren Nicole Smart.
Colin Craig May.
Abby Brianna Sheikovitz.
Morgan Claire Llewellyn.
Bria McCrae Colgan.
Warren Jacob Manring.
Michelle Denise Dunn.
Octavia Doan.
Madison Danielle Welch.
Cedric Collier Thomas the second.
Hannah Claire Kissick.
Dovey Charisse McClellan.
Madeline Lee Durand.
Anitra Christman.
Allison Lee Whittington.
Braylon Simone Johnson.
Connor Michael Bentz.
Melissa Alakai.
Cameron Michael Hudgens.
Lauren Henley.
Justin J. Woolson.
Alexis Siobhan Barclay.
Michael Tucker Cheney.
Aleto Douglas Beresford Cole.
McGregor Jones.
Colin McKinley Scarsdale.
Delaney Sembrano.
Cameron Christopher Milan.
Lauren Elizabeth Tyson.
Theodore Wesley Gwynn.
Sasha Lene Manocheripor.
Dylan Ted Von Anderson.
Stephanie Leanne Bailey.
Anthony Curtis Thompson.
Cassidy June Blair.
Anushka Rajay.
Kaya Kennedy.
Stephanie Grimes.
Catherine Rose Morrison.
Paige Baylock.
Olivia Catherine Hosick.
Joanna Marie Yukiko Jewell.
Madeline Michelle Dean.
Emily Schwinn.
Ashley Morgan Hoffman.
Jesse Kwaiku Ba Agre.
Mackenzie Lynn Rhodes.
Ernesto Uribe.
Megan Alyssa Drum.
Jesse Lee Peck.
Jamie Lee Thill.
Chelsea Lynn Russell.
Catherine Victoria Coe.
Erin Elizabeth Willoughby.
Catherine Taylor Parmiter.
Jessica Tyler Paris.
Brooke Stein.
Abigail Christine Gary.
Matthew Woosher.
Alexander Ryan Putlack.
Connor Jordan Devoto.
Dylan Tucker Floyd.
Matthew Robert Wilson.
Kara Nicole Falls.
James Edward Thompson.
Shelby Alexandra Skaggs.
Brian Seal.
Janae Gabriel Stockton.
Sally K. Knott.
Alicia Brooke McNaughton.
David Bowles II.
Lebanos Adnan.
Blake Jarwin.
Kelsey Dane Meyer.
Chandler Parks.
Allison Paige Gurley.
Allison Hammock.
Miranda Christine Hawes.
Trevor Kilblain.
Lee Taylor Winchester.
Shane Alexandria Scott.
Abigail Marie Shull.
Forrest Everett Long.
Mason Daniel Rayburn.
Bailey Betts.
Jennifer Leanne Mark.
Destiny Flores.
Jaden Brosda.
Blake Goddard.
Lauren Nicole Wilson.
Caitlin Alyssa Shell.
Stormy Talley.
Logan Spencer Bowman.
Thomas Reyna.
Reese Larmer.
Christian Idell.
Derek Burton Jr.
Zach Jones.
Macy Brianna Miller.
Angelica Renee Evans.
Leslie Harris.
Chelsea Sparks.
Daniel Drake Schaluter.
Jonathan Orr.
Brandon McCullough.
Nathan Squires.
Alex DeWinter.
Julia Elizabeth White.
Elliot West Bush.
Whitney Ann Fox.
Preston Watson.
Samuel Wade.
Brian Santillan Carter.
Adam Curtis.
Robert Clayton Deers.
Emily Bowen.
Colton Wesley Fairchild.
Susie Weems.
Trevor Joseph Curtis.
Hannah McGowan.
Clinton Daniel Doak.
Jessica Thomas.
Jacob Randall Smith.
Kimberly Oliver.
Kyle Shea Nunnally.
Leah Walsh.
Cody James Peterson.
Matthew James Bullington.
Brett L. Clark.
Nicole Jean Eaton.
Frank Paler.
Casey Virginia Pruitt.
Chad William Michaels.
Amber Lee Lindsay.
Matthew Stephen Delano.
Derek Joseph Ridenour.
John Wyatt DeVore.
Thomas William Culver.
Nathan Wynn.
Dawson King.
Luke Schuyler Moroff.
Mason Counts.
Michaela Caton Strauss Sabia.
Melanie Sue Ramsayer.
Brittany Ingalls.
Sterling Damon Hayden Jr.
Avery Thomas.
Shane Dustin Gosen.
Amanda Renique Broussard.
Dylan Wade Smith.
Alex Crow.
Cole Daniel.
Daniel Pasarabu.
Sydney Michelle Carlett.
Daniel James Allen.
Chad Andrew Curtis.
John David Florence III.
Nicole Darlene Peterson.
Ashley Nicole Davis.
Glenda Ross.
Michaela Elise Angaro.
Tyler Jacob Clay.
Cecilia Pennington Fisher.
Tanner Armstrong.
Joseph Tyler Glennie.
Brendan Wayne Morris.
Joseph Herrera.
Jacob Marvin DeLucia.
Richard Allen Hardiman.
Christopher Knox.
Dakota Jean Goins.
Johnny Nieto.
Logan Scott Singleton.
Paige Nicole Stramsky.
Jeffrey Walter Lippert.
Gabrielle Elise Meehan.
Cooper Nakai Rash.
Hannah Elizabeth Schneeberg.
Alexandra Lee Miller.
Ji Kimiko Chen.
Curtis George Shelton.
Chuan Shi.
The Vincent Angelo Sorrentino.
Huang Jonathan Tron.
Lloyd Scott Caldwell.
Brent Christian Mason.
Jack Tanner Killam.
Vivian Mallory O'Hara.
Trevor Lane Miller.
Natalie Irene Hayes.
Courtney Lee Brooks.
Mary Kate Jenks.
Leah Carol Rayner.
Jacob Tyler Floresca.
Morgan Blair Longmore.
Kyle Kurtz.
Madeline Jane Malloy.
John Crowder.
Catherine Elizabeth Weeks.
Ashley McLean.
Taylor K. Schramm.
Caden Woolman.
Nicole Elaine Moore.
Matt Viscusi.
Emily Renee Schramm.
Alex Piazza.
Gunner Charles Duckworth.
Cale McCoy.
Riley Matthew Gravel.
Connie Jean Cubbage.
David Edward Boyd.
Eric Tyler Kessner.
Corey Kent White.
Rusty Dyson.
Kevin King.
Mai Wong Trong.
William Tyler Ashburn.
Angela Denise Jordan.
William David Baggett.
Caroline Swank.
Amanda Fiveash.
Blake Norman Robinson.
Allison Louise Chetglatt.
Parker Price Burns.
Catherine Taylor Finley.
Zachary Warden.
Michael Ronald Fugit.
Garrett Vonderluft.
Cameron Ray Williamson.
Jacob Dehan.
Ronell Eugene Johnson.
Philip Douglas Woods.
Joshua Matthias White.
Julian David Jones.
Austin Michael Dick.
Shelby Ray Kyle.
Josiah William Rostoischer.
Austin Taylor.
Chloe Paige Thompson.
Christian Mark Casey.
Allison Nicole Roy.
Tommy Holbitz.
Aaron Daniel Story.
Trey Niblett.
Trevor Chase Yazel.
Logan McGill.
Marshall Trent Thomas.
Spencer Reisenhuber.
Hunter James Cashware.
Keaton David.
Zachary Monkton.
Bo Allen Fraley.
Forrest Robert Harmon III.
Alexander James Fox.
Ethan Nedvedick.
Alex Wire.
Stephen Snyder.
Christine Elisa Anderson.
Austin Brockman.
Teresa Gamela Groff.
Ty Herndon.
Sarah Elizabeth Fritz.
Reagan Clemens.
Mallory Lynn Dart.
Ronald C. McVean III.
Jessica Jean Murphy.
Robert York.
Mitchell Owens.
Preston Maddox.
Bryce Warren.
James Brian Raymond.
David Mejia.
Zachary Aaron Knight.
Armando Hernandez.
Tyler Herzl.
Armando Zapata Torres.
Tevin Tolton.
Taylor Sexton.
Ryan Munings.
Rafael Jose Rodriguez.
Stephen Mitchell Potter.
Trent Harris.
Austin Harmon.
Mason Taylor.
Connor Kenton Clark.
Joshua Ralph Jackson.
Dalton Norris.
Aaron Cromer.
Spencer Major.
Cheyenne Owens.
Blessing Lauren Anderson.
Raylan Michelle Keck.
Katie Paige Linden.
Tiffany Cathy.
Brittany Catherine Poy.
Charlie Gibson.
Reed Joseph Schonecker.
Allison Nicole Minders.
Chandler Little Nothing But Net.
Alexandra Grace Adkins.
Laura Jo Deviney.
Natalie Sarah Fieldson.
Allison Claire Mueller.
Allison Godwin.
Megan Marie Shaver.
Madison Claire Mosier.
Keandra Renee Spencer.
Casey Lynn Kennedy.
Tyler Zander.
Rachel Ann Knorr.
Colin Steffen.
Katie Ann Lemler.
Cindy Alfaro.
Marianne Catherine Pierce.
Jeanette Gonzalez.
Sarah Alice Simmons.
Corey Dan Johnson.
Justin Gardner.
Skylar Nicole Harnley.
Chelsea Brooke Garner.
Ashley Eklund Duran.
Ryan Paxton.
Wally Sampson Federo.
Hunter Spear.
Evan Ronner.
Summer Emily Little.
Britt Graham.
Stephanie Renee John.
Logan Ashley Rice.
Brittany Chansey.
Michaela Nicole Ruderer.
Christine Tucker.
Avery Roxanne Sawyer.
Shay Ione Andelin.
Nathan Means.
Misty Everin Don Tayunga.
Duo Zung.
Blake Allen Ferguson.
Megan Martinez.
Connor Wade Stewart.
Hannah Littlefield.
Skylar Matthew Jaworski.
Shireen Zarabi.
Garrett Don Sharp.
Yushin Zhang.
Bridget Christine Miller.
Kongryong Lee.
Luke Novitsky Jans.
Kyle Vincent.
David Tony Romo Drunkel.
David Krigbaum Jr.
Trocon Samuels.
Angelo Jorge Fish.
Nick DeMarco.
James Henry Hagerman.
Jake Havener.
John Richard Shesky Peterson.
Britton Andrew Coleman.
David Timothy Vogt.
Bennett Ray Bilbrick.
Grant C. Christian.
Marissa Alexis Smith.
Cody Dalton Cottom.
Lauren Ashley Smith.
Nicholas David Merlino.
Victoria Simone Marianne Griffin.
Vin Gwynn.
Roger Miller.
Dan Gwynn.
Min Ju Kim.
Isabel Christina Molino.
Ji Wook Jong.
Anna Marie Gench.
Junsu Ha.
Erin Elizabeth Bullinger.
Molly Elizabeth Coley.
Dana Elizabeth Reed.
Raven Kia Tiam.
Bo Alexander Jones.
Jerry Deshaun Adams.
Krista Joy Schultz.
Sawyer Adams.
Alexis Fiegel.
Jared Johnston Cox.
Scarlett Danielle Hood.
Sandra Pearl Kaya.
Benjamin Clayton Ewing.
Annie Marie Keithley.
Zhao Ichtung.
Kathleen Bridget Denny.
Yanan Hu.
Taylor Ann Meager.
Hujin Cheng.
Sarah Magdalene Achman Frank.
Tian Gan.
Jonathan Meza.
Catherine Ronaker.
Christopher Bringays.
Valentina Schultz.
Kevin Merrill.
Maria Alvarez.
Sam Ward.
Jacob Sood.
Jake Stump.
Miranda Ersman.
Justin Swanner.
Haley Deanne Paxton.
Brad Florence.
Christopher Jean Hayworth.
Tyler Fath.
Melissa Elaine White.
Alex Wildman.
Leah Christine Tripaldi.
Benjamin James Reedmiller.
Matthew Belanger.
Rage Staggs.
Jacob Andrew Peters.
Katie Jeans.
Hal Trentman.
Connor McMurrain.
Thomas Rouse.
Colton Riley Cheap.
Sean Robert Marshall.
Madison Jean Carey.
Coulter Ross LeGrant.
Alexander William McGuire.
Ryan Kobe Francis.
Zachary Braun.
Reed Williams. Cole Parsons. Taylor Zachary Roberts. Stetson Singletary. And this concludes recognition of the graduates from the Spears School of Business. Please join me in congratulating them.
Would all the candidates please rise? On the recommendation of the respective faculties and deans of the colleges, and with the approval of the Board of Regents for Oklahoma State University and the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education, it is my distinct pleasure and privilege as president of Oklahoma State University to confer upon each of you the degree for which you will be recommended and to invest with you all the rights, honors, privileges, and obligations pertaining thereto. Congratulations, and please change the tassels from the right to the left. You did it. I hope you all know how proud we are of your accomplishments. You are the biggest class we've ever had. Congratulations for that. I hope that you'll remain true to your alma mater. You'd come back to campus when you can and bring money and wear the brightest orange every day. As new alumni, may the words which you're about to sing take on a very special and lasting meaning for you as we all join in singing the alma mater hymn led by Charles Rich.
Proud and immortal, bright shines your name, Oklahoma State, we herald your fame. Ever you'll find us loyal and true to our alma mater, OSU.